You may have already been exposed to the work of Freddy Silva on the Art Bell Show or many other media outlets. Freddy Silva is considered one of the top researchers in the arena of crop circle phenomena. In his book, Secrets in the Fields, Freddy pulls the pieces of the picture together regarding what these images mean to mankind in a way that nobody else has done. He also tells of the darker history of crop circles, such as disinformation campaigns by the governments of the world.
The beginning of the modern phase of the phenomenon, which is from the early 80s to the 90s, I mean, it was nothing but genuine crop circles. You'd find one or two here and there where farmers would try to experiment with chains and ropes to see, well, we can't recreate that. Even the editor of the Fortean Times, a very famous magazine in Britain, even he's admitted that people can't do this. We've tried it. It won't. Now, of course, they've changed their tune. They've been infiltrated by other people.
And I want to get to that.
Exactly. And by 1990, we had this huge sudden rise in exponential rise in complexity and also in scientific evidence, by which time, of course, you've got a religious following coming on the back of it. So, of course, the government couldn't handle that. I should say, actually, governments couldn't handle that because they can't control people. They didn't know what it was. And to have people believe in something that's supposedly extraterrestrial, which in a way it is bad. You can't have that. People need to be controlled, so the government says. So they invented something called Doug and Dave, which was something that eventually was traced back to the English Ministry of Defense, from sources from the inside who revealed that. So after that, in the mid-90s, you start getting the phenomenon going down and the allowance of hoaxing to come in. By 1994, you have the rise of the real phenomenon coming back. 96, 97, 98, it reaches a peak. And then it drops off again. So it sort of does a sine wave all the way through history. It's just like a sound wave. There are peaks and troughs. So it rises the energy, it imprints energy into the land, and then it just drops off. It allows people to do their thing. 2000, 2001, 2002. By 2002 and 3, you're getting more complex designs, but fewer genuine ones as well. So they're almost concentrating the energy that's going into the land in fewer designs. And then suddenly, from my experience, 2003 was definitely the last major genuine event in England. And from then on, it's just been a sudden cut-off. Simple circles here and there, as if they're just adjusting the energy field of the Earth. But more rise in the phenomenon in America.
The simple circle in America.
Especially the simple circles in America. In Canada, in Saskatchewan, in the prairies, in Japan, in 29 countries around the world, including South Africa. So they're spreading now around the world. And there's also, even today in 2007, we have, for example, right now, as we speak, 18 crop circles in Italy, all of which have been man-made. And looking at their designs, I can tell you they're the same people that were responsible for making some of the ones between 2001 and 2006 in England as well. Now we begin to see who the perpetrators are and where they come from. But having said that, despite the fact that there is a huge influx now of this bandwagoning, the fact that a false religion is almost being based on this, despite the fact that within this phenomenon there is a real sense of faith, you just have to go back in time to look at the real stuff and look at the real information. It does help us to actually look at people and how they create these false gods and how suddenly something that is so pure is denatured over time. So it's almost the phenomenon, by holding back, is allowing us to view ourselves as people, as a culture, and how we behave around ourselves and how we take very sacred concepts and turn them into something very, unspiritual.
Cheap and commercial.
Cheap and commercial, exactly. So it's actually showing us up for who we are. So I think that in itself is also part of the whole purpose of the phenomenon, because they're trying to get us to see who we are. They're not trying to fix anything, they're trying to help us to be the highest expression of who we can be in this lifetime, to take responsibility for what we're doing.
I highly recommend this interview to anyone that has had even a passing interest in crop circles. To watch the full interview, go to consciousmedianetwork.com.